Hello, friends of Golf Course Quality Fertilizer. It's been a while since we've done a video, but we have this really hot spell, this hot weather coming up. And I definitely want to talk about some things that you can do to help minimize the pressure on your lawn. Cool season turf, anytime temperatures get above 88 degrees, it really starts to stress and suffer and sometimes even die if it lasts too long. And so we want to talk about the minimalist things we can do to try to help get it through these times and help minimize pressure on the turf. And so first let's talk about mowing. Okay, so when you mow, when it's temperatures over 85 degrees, I kind of use that as a benchmark to help me so I'm not pushing my limits. I'll always mow in the evening time. That's a really important thing to know to do. If you mow in the morning, that means you're cutting that grass, letting it have all these fresh wounds going into a hot day, and it's going to stress it out a little bit more, and then you might have to even do a midday water to try to rescue that grass out of that situation. And a lot of people are worried about midday watering, and if you're watering from a well, you're fine watering in the middle of the day. Just don't try to soak it down, but you might throw it out there and give it 30 minutes, get it through the rest of the day, then in the next morning give it a real deep watering cycle to bring it back from that situation. So that comes to the next point. We don't want to mow our grass anytime that it's under stress, okay? So if it's crunchy or purple, things like that, then you don't want to mow that grass. You want to avoid it. I don't care if it looks like a pasture, right? Do not mow stressed grass. There's a difference between mowing dry grass and droughted stressed grass, right? You do want to mow it when it's dry, so that way the clippings spread evenly a lot easier, but if it's stressed, if it's crunchy under your feet or looking different with weird colors, I'd rather you get water on it immediately, even if it's the middle of the day, to cool it down, give it a little reprieve. Like I said, that 30-minute cycle, and then go ahead and get a deep watering the next morning. Some really hot days, and we're gonna have some of those coming up soon, you might even do 2 30-minute things during that day just to get it through the day. On a golf course, and this is a good reason to know that midday watering is not harmful to the grass, but on a golf course we'll actually run out on the greens, these $1 million greens, and cool them down sometimes 3, 4, 5 times in a day, just putting a light watering to pull that heat off the grass. And so we're assisting it getting through that hot day with some syringes and things like that on a golf course green, right? And so deep watering in the morning, maybe a couple of cool times during the day. Try not to water every day in the morning, getting it really wet and moist so we don't end up with Pythium blight, which is going to happen during this hot weather. We're looking at almost 10 days of 90 degrees, and so if you're getting them too wet, then we're going to get diseases. So it's a real hard balance to try to follow in that. So what I look for when I'm looking for drought stress zones, I look for my indicator spots. Those are going to be along the driveway. Those start to look weird. Then I'll go ahead and maybe even throw a cycle on that right then, and then a deep cycle in the morning. That means, oh yes, my grass is going to start needing water soon. And sometimes I just watch it. Other times I'll do other stuff. We're going to pause. I'm going to go in the front and show you some things. All right, and so I also want to talk about, right now we're going through our stems from our seeding that we had earlier are dying and starting to turn brown. And this also makes it tough and make the yards look bad anyways with this hot weather coming. And so I did a little example on my neighbor's yard and my yard. We actually mow the neighbor's yard, and so that really helps me be able to do things and just discern differences between different practices. And so we actually mowed this one down pretty low, about a ½ inch lower than what I normally mow it at. While it was going through the end of its seeding process, and then we bumped it up to our normal height again when it was about done. And so you can see that across this looks a lot greener, and I have not raised my height in my yard yet, and so you can still see a lot of the stems that are through there, and so it deceivingly looks like it might need fertilizer. Even it even looks a little like, man, does it need water and things like that. And so that can lead you to start overwatering, and then you'll end up with those diseases like Pythium and stuff. So when you're coming through, make sure that you're looking down in here and at the brown zones, right, and feel them. and you can see, oh, it's a brown stem, right? My leaves are nice and green. Well, there's a few little diseases, of course, but you know, those are green, but I have these stems in here, and there are some diseases a little bit, always is, seems like, but these stems, they're everywhere, and they're getting more and more brown, and so they will make a bad look across the lawn. And so these little boogers I despise until they finally break fully off, and then they go away. Here's one that's still green, so it looks like we'll have this guy still for a while. Well, not this one, but so it makes it look bad. So maybe bump your height up just a little bit. Not only is it going to help hide these stems, and let's come over here and look into this. If we pull back the canopy here, we're going to notice the same stuff we were seeing over there. See all these brown stems down underneath and through here, right? But they're not poking up at top anymore, and so therefore they're hidden, and now it doesn't look so bad across the lawn. So we're kind of cheating the system until the stupid stems go away. But see these brown stems inside of here. But that little bit higher height gives it that greener color, and it's going to benefit you in this hot weather as well, having a little bit higher height to get through these hot days, these 90-degree days. Mow in the evenings, mow when the turf is dry, when it's dry but not droughted. Don't mow droughted turf. Make sure that if it's droughted, even if you have to wait for a week because it's so droughted and you can't get enough water back to it, wait till that thing, when you step on it, it bounces back up when you lift your foot, right? Let's come over here. I think there's a little bit of stressed turf that is starting. So it looks like this is starting to turn a little bit visually, but it's still bouncing back pretty good. We're right on the edge of needing to water, but it might rain today, so we'll see what happens. And then we might have to start watering tomorrow. And I water with a hose. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. I hope if you have any questions, you can email us, but try to mow in the evenings. Watch your watering. It's going to be a tough little run here. If you've already put down your fertilizer, keep a watch on your watering practices and try to mow a little bit more frequently to reduce the stress. Mow in the evenings. If you haven't put your fertilizer down yet, wait till this hot spell is done, and don't do any weed spraying when it's over 85 degrees. And so this week, no weed spraying. And for a nice thought too is, if you're gonna spray and it says don't spray over 85 degrees, that means that day. Not if you're spraying in the morning when it's cooler and it gets hotter, that's not a good thing either. So make sure it's below 85 degrees for the total day temperature to do your weed spraying. All right, we'll talk to you again. Thanks. Bye.